Now, I thought the first part of Higurashi was great and how it crafted its mysteries and horror moments, but Higurashi Kai just takes it to a whole nother level. We are going to continue the emotional roller coaster to Higurashi in the second set of stories, Higurashi When They Cry Kai, or the Answer Arc. If you have not seen the first part of Higurashi, the question arc, or have not seen my review of it, I would highly recommend watching that before continuing with the rest of the video. The link to the first part of Higurashi is in the description down below. And with that, let's begin. The most immediate change I noticed off the bat was the music change from MIDI instruments to actual instruments. Not that the music composition was bad from the first game, but it's one hell of an improvement. And I'm thankful for that because we get introduced to the most central piece in Higurashi Kai, You. You is a great music track that perfectly encapsulates the entire mood of the work through its many variations played throughout the visual novel. From being sorrowfully melancholy, to joyfully happy, to resolutely determined, it's a wonderful piece. And that's just the one singular piece, in addition to all the other serene and moving tracks in this soundtrack. Continuing from Higurashi the question arc, I installed the 0.7 mod for Higurashi Kai. The 0.7 expansion mod combines the best parts of Higurashi on PC and consoles, porting new sprites, backgrounds, video openings, and even voice acting, creating the definitive experience for Higurashi. While the base game is sufficient, the 0.7 mod adds voiceovers, which contain some very powerful raw performances from the voice actors. Major props to the voice actors because they did an absolutely fantastic job here. Personally, I think the original base visual novel is still perfectly fine. It's just that having the 0.7 mod massively increases the Higurashi experience. So I remember what I said at the end of the first part of the Higurashi review about the last arc. This arc becomes a significant turning point for the series, transitioning from a series full of regret and sorrow into a series striving for hope and happiness. Well,
so that was a fucking lie.
This first arc, Makashi Hen, is told from the perspective of Shion Sonozaki, as she goes from being the most underdeveloped character in the question arc to the most transformed character in all of Higurashi. Shion is an open and free-spirited individual as shown off in the Watanagashi Hen chapter, and Makashi Hen fully encapsulates all of Shion's personality, beliefs, desires, and motivations. In Makashi Hen, we are taken back to the past to 1 year before Keiichi moves to Hinamizawa, where we meet a certain character never before seen, but a character important to the cast, Satoshi Hojo. Makashi Hen is our first formal introduction to Satoshi and his involvement with Hinamizawa. He's not the most active individual, but for some people, he's the world to them. Throughout this backstory, Satoshi is a great character to follow as we gradually see the tragic events and emotional breakdown that lead up to his eventual demise. At the beginning, the visual novel shows off the great chemistry between Satoshi and Shion, to which the visual novel proceeds to twist that bloody knife, because as we already know, this won't end well for the both of them. These scenes with the two of them are also greatly amplified because we are put in Shion's perspective. We are actively seeing Satoshi's struggles through Shion's eyes and are told how she feels about the situation and are shown how she acts in response. She's not morally justified in her actions. In fact, she's probably the most selfish out of the entire cast of Higurashi, but I find that makes her a more attractive and compelling character. As the most aggressively emotional one, Shion has some intensely powerful scenes that held my attention throughout her struggle. Again, she's not the most morally straight, but she firmly believes in her actions and we can come to understand why she's doing it. Makashi Hen is brilliant in showing how Shion evolves throughout her character arc as she fights the world, with the visual novel also reframing previous established plot elements in a whole new light and context. And even at the final moments of her arc, Makashi Hen sells us feelings of extreme sympathy and pity. Makashi Hen is arguably the biggest emotional tragedy in all of Higurashi because being Shion is practically suffering. The next arc, Sumi Hiriboshi Hen, focuses on Rena's point of view and explores her more complicated side. Despite Rena's airheadedness and moe personality, she's a lot more perceptive than what she appears to be. And that can work out in our favor like when she helps out Keiichi in understanding Mion in the Watsunagashi arc. But that can also work out against us as well. God forbid anyone lies to her. Rena views herself as a happy-go-lucky character who's always pursuing happy moments, but at the same time, always pursuing happiness may have a darker side to it. Rena has a rough backstory involving parental divorce at a young age, and it indirectly explains a lot of the particular characteristics Rena has, both her moe quirks and her crazy quirks. To be quite frank, it's well established that absolutely no one here in Higurashi is having a fun time.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
People in Hinamizawa are scared of the curse of Oyashiro-sama, but it's their own individual psychological state that should be truly feared and should be watched over. Despite the despair this arc presents, it leads to some great emotional climaxes as the characters deeply confide in each other. It's a test of the bonds between friends. This is the point in the grand narrative where things start to finally change for the better, to where we are finally seeing the light at the end of this maze. Sumi Hiriboshi Hen is also the point where the mysterious supernatural elements in Higurashi are now being explained more in depth. We are given more tangible reasons for certain unexplained events. Well, more accurately, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it's still progress, no matter how much of a stretch it is. Sumi Hiriboshi Hen ends with a high-tension, action-packed ending. It's a powerful climactic ending reaffirming the characters' trust and friendship in each other as it leads itself into the next arc. In this next arc, Minagoro Shihen, we are presented with a balance of hopelessly depressing and uplifting motivation. It's an arc that's quite literally a roller coaster of emotions. If you haven't figured it out already, Minagoro Shihen explains the reason for Higurashi's unique plot structure and follows the quote-unquote real main character. Now that we are presented with all the facts, the players, and the rules, this arc acts differently because of all of this information. It's like seeing the story with the power of an omnipotent god, foreseeing possible events and the reason for said events. But we are still missing the most key element of all, the culprit. Centralized around the struggle against the continuous tragedies of Higurashi, this arc describes a fight against fate. It teaches us that no matter what the odds, we should continue to fight in order to reach that happiness. No matter how many times it takes, it's worth fighting for. And given the context both in this particular narrative and through the eyes of our main character, this is given a lot more weight. But with the greatest amount of hope, there is an equal amount of despair. Minagoro Shihen brings back a particular tragedy, the worst possible world. If Sumi Hiriboshi Hen was a test of the cast's bond between each other, Minagoro Shihen is a test of the cast's strength against their environment. There are many instances throughout Higurashi in which our young characters are powerless against their environment, but this is the first instance they actively fight against the fate standing in their way. Minagoroshi is essentially the power of friendship and trust defeats all. I don't think I've ever been this hyped up watching these characters fight for their sake of their friend, ending on a satisfying climax. However, we still have one more arc to go through. If Minagoro Shihen was a tale about the struggle to roll multiple 6s on a die, the first part of Matsuribashi Hen is the struggle of being dealt a string of 1s on a die. The beginning of Matsuribashi Hen provides backstory on the last integral character to the cast. This backstory positions this particular character in the same situation as the characters in the last arc, as they also struggle against their fate. It's a valiant move that changes how we view the conflict in Higurashi. Of course, it's obvious who the readers are going to side with, but it turns the fight into a clash between 2 opposing willpowers and convictions, rather than a simple black and white morality, good versus evil conflict. And this particular character's monologue and the ultimate confrontation at the end of this segment sells the resolve of these characters tremendously. My absolute conviction will forge a certain future. Nobody can interfere. Nobody can stop me. I won't allow the die to roll a 1. I'm going to make all the dice roll 6s. I won't entrust the die to God. The second segment, Matsuribashi Hen, is an interesting change to Higurashi. The true main character references all of the arcs together, but here, the visual novel is literally presenting you the fragments from every single myriad world in order to craft the ideal world. The ideal June of 1983. Here, you, the reader, have to connect the fragmented story sections one by one in order to reach and unlock the final, last segment of Higurashi. All of the mysteries are unraveled in the second half of Higurashi, as the series loves to reframe different plot beats and arcs to further explore characters and hidden details, presenting an emotionally entertaining and engaging story. Higurashi Kai takes a departure from the horror mystery aspect of the series, changing its focus to tell strong individual character stories. Higurashi as a whole is a visual novel that will make you deeply care about each character and their struggles from their own internal guilts and fears. The visual novel takes on many deeply personal issues, from generational problems, parental conflict, depression, and personal sin. But in an environment where everything seems fruitless, it's still worth fighting against for an ideal future. No one person has to go through their own hardships alone, but together with the people closest to you, it's possible to overcome anything, even fate. I give Higurashi and Higurashi Kai a 5 out of 5 with a seal of recommendation. Subscribe if you like the video and want to see more. Check back every week for new content. For more of my thoughts, you can find me on Twitter at TheAugustHale.